everyone, hello and good morning. Welcome back to channel Anderzen. Today we're going to be trying to tackle the water pump on the ML55, and I'll show you guys what that looks like now and how I found out that it was going bad. So you guys can clearly see here the pulley's got a little bit of a wobble to it on the water pump, and down below you can see some leakage down there, and I can actually see, you can't see it on camera really, but it's actually weeping down from the weep hole, as well I think from the bottom of the gasket. So most likely this is the original pump. It's at 154,000 miles on the car right now. So, you know, it had a good life, it lasted a long time. What I'm hearing as a possible problem is if the system wasn't flushed often enough, it could lead to failure. And also this older style tensioner that's on there, supposedly that over tensions the belts and can cause to, you know, excess pull on the water pump pulley. So I don't really think that's the case in this situation. I just think the water pump, you know, it lasted a long time and it's time to go. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and take care of that, and I will show you guys all the things I got to replace this and what else I'll be replacing along the way. All right guys, so here's what I have for parts. Got this water pump. This is an Airtex water pump, AW16380, and didn't go with FCPRO more so just because of time's sake. I needed to try to get this done this weekend, and I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to get one here in time, as well as all the other parts that I needed. So got it off Amazon. It was like 50 some dollars, had a gift card as well, so I ended up paying like 25 bucks for it. As soon as I bought that one, then the price jumped back up to like 80 bucks. But you can find these ones for anywhere from like $65 to $100 depending on where you're buying it from. So check around. Quality is good on it. It's aluminum casting and a cast iron impeller, which seems like pretty standard comparing all the different specs on the pumps that I was looking at. And Airtex has been making pretty much only fuel pumps and water pumps for a long time. They're an American company. Have the gasket. Definitely go with Mercedes gaskets. The ones that came with this pump are not good. It's like a paper gasket, or I don't know what it is, cork gasket maybe, and rubber one. The rubber one looks okay, but the other one definitely not good. Even people that bought the Melee one off FCPRO were recommending to get the Mercedes gaskets still. So even the higher price pumps still probably want to go with the OEM gasket. So I got these from Mercedes. I think they were like $7 a piece, so not bad at all. FCPRO has them for a little bit cheaper, but convenience sake, they're right local to me. I also got a belt tensioner. Mine has the old style like you guys saw, and this is the newer updated tensioner. This one is from DriveStar, the cheap option, but mostly, again, I was just trying to get one here in time to be able to do this weekend. So a bit of a time crunch limited my options. This one has a little bit of like wobble in the bearing. It feels like it's seated, it's spinning fine, but I don't know. If I'm not happy with this one, then I can always replace it later, but just figured I'd throw it on today. And the coolant that you guys need, depending on which coolant your Mercedes is running, mine has the yellow OEM coolant, so you want to replace it with Xerox Go5, or you can get the OEM coolant as well. If you have the blue coolant, then I would recommend just getting the Mercedes stuff, or finding another compatible option. But I've used this stuff before, and I like Valvoline products, and Xerox always been good. Everyone recommends the Go5 for the W163. So that is what we have. And one helpful tip that I've seen a couple people do online, because there's so many bolts that go in here, all different sizes, just do an outline and kind of mark where all your bolts are going. That way, as you take them out, you can place them in here so you don't forget where they're going to go when you put them back. All right, Mike over here went for it. He wasn't waiting for anything. There's no drain for the radiator or anything, so you just got to undo the hoses. So undid that bottom one and drained out probably majority of the coolant. Obviously, there's still going to be more in there, but it's coming out now. Did you burn yourself?
No, it was lukewarm. It's like taking a bath.
So yeah, we'll let this drain out and get this belt off and start examining what bolts to start pulling first. So one other thing too is, you guys remember when I did the breather cover hoses on the C55, I had the black set of the silicone hoses, and they always come with the radiator hoses that are originally for a E430, I think, which is, you know, 4.3 liter M113. So these do not fit on the C55, but they actually appear like they might possibly work on this. They're a lot different shape, but the connection points are pretty similar. So maybe we can pull these old hoses off and see if we can get these to work. I have the black set too, which I wish I brought, but might have to run red today. Not that big a deal. But the bottom one looks like it's a for sure fit. Might have to cut it a little bit shorter, but yeah, definitely would want to use these if they fit. All right, so one other thing we're going to add to the list today is thermostat. Since, you know, we have everything open and might as well. I'm sure that one's the original one. I've had this on hand. I was going to do it in the C55, but just haven't done it. So these are relatively cheap, 30 bucks or so off FCP Euro. This is a Borg Warner, a Waller unit. So I think it's OE replacement. So yeah, just 2 bolts. Basically slides right out, and when you're already doing everything else, we already made a mess, so might as well just replace it. We got the belt tensioner loose. Get the belt off. The belt I replaced when I first got the car, and the idler pulley also is brand new, pretty much. So not going to be doing those, but yeah, definitely the tensioner. And it's a E-Torque size, but I ended up just using 8mm because I didn't have the right size to grab onto that old style. The new style has, I don't know, like a 12mm or something that you use instead, so a little bit easier. All right, it's making good headway. Got majority of the bolts out. Got 3 more, it looks like. Got the pulley off. Preferably, you should probably do this before you pull the belt. We did it after we pulled the belt, but I just used a 4.5 Allen with the wrench on it to get some leverage and broke them loose. They're not that tight. And then you can put a screwdriver in between to hold it still as you're breaking them loose. So just do one at a time. The other thing too, I'll pop up on screen right now just some different options for the water pumps and what I found while I was researching. So you will go ahead and see me on the computer screen here in a second. All right guys, so I wanted to go ahead and make a quick insert into the video just to kind of explain the process of how I find parts and make sure I'm getting the best deal. Now, you guys are probably good at this yourselves, but one thing I like to do is just, you know, check against 3 or 4 different websites and make sure that I'm getting the best deal and not just kind of settling for whatever I think may be the best price. So one way I do that is I like to start off on sites like Rock Auto and FCP Euro and just compare, you know, what manufacturers are making what part that I'm looking for. In this case, we're focusing on the water pump. So you can see a place like Rock Auto, the reason I like them is because they list out a lot of different manufacturers. So you can see they even have something for like $28 from API. Anything on the cheaper side of Rock Auto, I mean, you can try it, but I would recommend, you know, at least going for middle of the ballpark and up, or looking for names that you know and companies that you trust. In this case, you know, a company like Rain, I've used their parts before, mostly just gaskets. I think I've used a linkage arm in the past, but besides that, you know, it's a familiar company, but not necessarily something that I would choose for a water pump. GMB is something that people often talk about for water pumps, but again, not a company that I've used before. Euro and Vico have pretty bad reputations in the German part community. So personally, I stay away from them. But then you come to the company like Airtex, which is the one I settled on, as you guys saw. And the reason I was happy with them is because looking around online, I was able to find good reviews on places like Land Rover forums, on forums like Bob is the Oil Guy. And the last kind of thing that made me comfortable and confident with going with this pump was looking at the actual company's website and seeing that they do offer a limited lifetime water pump warranty for all of their, you know, standard car water pumps. Anything that's like, you know, a heavy duty vehicle or big trucks or things like that, they don't have a lifetime warranty, but in this case we do. We're covered. And you can see here down the options of what qualifies for the warranty, which are pretty standard things as far as warranties go, or lifetime warranty especially. So limited lifetime warranty, if you guys don't know, that just means while you own the vehicle. So if I was to sell the vehicle, obviously whoever got it after me, all of these warranties wouldn't follow them. I don't know FCP Euro's rules with that, but it might transfer to new owners if you kept the paperwork for them. I'm not sure entirely, but for this case, it does work out in my favor. I don't plan on selling these cars, as you guys know. So if it does ever go bad, then I have an out right here with AirTechs. So I actually found this one on Amazon. When I bought it, it was $58, somewhere around there, and I had a gift card, like I said, so ended up going with it. And if you look at the ratings, the only bad rating it gets is because somebody tried to use it on M113K, which they say the housing is not the same, and returned. I don't know how they could give a 1-star for returning the wrong product, but anyways, all the other reviews 5 stars. And like I said, the only thing that I saw that we ended up discovering later on in the video is that 2 of the holes were not tapped that were supposed to be, and those ended up being these 2, as you will see in the video later on. But you know, the other options that you have, of course, FCP is always a great option. This one is $94 from Melee, and like I said, I would still recommend using the Mercedes gaskets. I was told that by multiple people. So still use Mercedes gaskets, and as you guys will see also in the video, you actually can use one or the other. You don't end up using both, so you make a choice. You can use the rubber, or you can use the paper or the metal, depending on if you have the Mercedes one or not. Now for the tensioner, I ended up not being happy with that tensioner that I bought. It was a cheap option. Like I said, I just needed something in case the original one that was on there was shot and I wasn't comfortable with reusing it. But in this case, I ended up just running the stock one that was on there, and I'll be replacing it in the following weekend with this unit here that I just purchased from FCP Euro. For an item like this, nobody offers a lifetime warranty on a tensioner besides FCP Euro. So they're a great go-to for things, you know, all things besides big components that might have a lifetime warranty from other manufacturers as well. So just check around. That's my biggest advice, is just check around. You guys know I love FCP Euro. It's not any slack towards them. It's just, you know, as a consumer, I'm trying to get the best deal possible with respect to the longevity of my vehicles and my wallet. So with something like this, you know, I could find one for $30 off Amazon, or $50 off Rock Auto, or even this Phoebe one. I found the exact same one on Amazon for like $48, but you know, a $30 saving is not worth it when you look at, you know, having a lifetime guarantee basically. So in this case, $75 is not bad at all. So check FCP out. They got good deals for sure. And yeah, let's go back to the video now. Alright, so that's all of them out of there. First time we used the Milwaukee ratchet in a while on anything, but it came in handy for this job. And now we'll pry it off. Right, it's out. Other things to pay attention to, that's the little connector for the oil cooler. So we just took off the little clamps for it, put them in a little hose. We're gonna end up reusing that part. Here's the part number. This is the old part number, 112-201-0301. They've since updated it to 112-201-0401. And you want to make sure you get the one with 3 outlets. So it's got the bottom 2 down here, and then the one up here for the oil cooler, if your car has the oil cooler, depending on what M112 or M113 you have. This thing's seen better days, but it's not terrible. There's the backside. And Mercedes doesn't manufacture these anymore. Any ones that they get, they basically rebuild, and you'll see them being sold as the 112-201-0401, and then it has an 80 on the end of it. Anytime you see 80, that's probably a factory remanufactured part or rebuilt part. So I'm gonna try to hang on to this one and see if Mercedes would rebuild it. That way I could just use this for the C55. And then once I take the C55 one out, then I can have that one rebuilt too. So I could just have them without, you know, throwing it out, wasting. And the gasket came with it. Still in pretty good shape, actually. It's not that bad. It's a rubber one. There's a metal gasket on there. All right, so if you're watching, you might know the answer right now, but I'm gonna have to do some research because I was under the impression you had 2 gaskets that you use, because even the aftermarket one came with 2 gaskets. And when I looked online, you have this gasket and you have the rubber one. But as you guys saw when we took this one out, it only had the rubber one on it. All right, so we got the thermostat off as well. 2 E12 Torx bolts. So definitely, if you're doing this job, have all the E-Torx sockets, inverted Torx sockets, handy in all different sizes. So here they are. Majority of them are E12s, but there's some different sizes as well. There's also Torx head for the idler pulley. I use a T50 on that. These have kind of like the rounded heads on them. We only have the flathead ones, so they work, but just be careful. All right, so I decided I'm not going to throw this one on. I just don't like the axial play that's on this. I don't know if I can show you guys on camera, but it's got just like a little bit of a wobble to it. Just don't really trust it. That one was a cheaper one, so it had decent reviews, but it was still a chance. So I knew if it wasn't trustworthy, I wasn't going to run it, and I will just keep the other one on there for now and order one to throw on next weekend. All right, so the oil cooler line proves to be the most tricky, at least from reading online. What we did is wedged in between these two just a little bit because these clamps just barely wouldn't slide past it. So we kind of tweaked it a little bit to be able to slide them up here, and then slid the hose onto the top portion first and then slid it down on the bottom. Now we'll be able to slide the clamps onto it. And then for the gasket as well, we ended up just using the rubber one. And shout out to Moni and RJ. It's my wife's cousin and her boyfriend. They actually picked this up from Mercedes of Tacoma for me. It ended up not even needed to use it. So I guess I'll return that to Mercedes. All right, so we got most of the bolts back in. This far left one that goes into the alternator, I had read that 2 of the bolt holes, which right now we've only found 1, but read that they needed to be tapped. So we're just kind of wrenching this one in here. It just barely doesn't fit into the bushing, whatever this is, on the left side. It fits pretty much perfectly into this. This is the OEM one. So yeah, we're just basically tapping it through on that side. And I don't know what other ones could be the ones that people are talking about as the second one that need to be tapped, but we'll see. We still got about 6 bolts left to go in. All right, so we found the 2 that people were talking about that were not tapped. It's these 2 on the kind of top left side to the left of the idler pulley. So we're tapping them right now. And they are 6mm bolts. So, little guys. All right, so we have everything in. Just put the pulley bolts back on. They're actually a 5 Allen wrench, not a 4.5 like I thought. And what else? Put the hoses on. This one, put a little zip tie here, drilled a little hole because we wanted to have space between the oil cooler. These are for the 430 engines, but they work fine. And then we also, underneath, deleted the block heater, since I'm never gonna be in cold enough climate with this car to make it necessary. So that hose actually fit pretty perfectly, just straight up onto the water pump. After we bypassed that, didn't have to cut it at all. And that way we didn't have to use this old piece of hose anyways. So I think we're good to go. Gonna put the belt back on and then fill it up. guys, we're in the process of refilling and bleeding the system. These motors are quote-unquote self-bleeding, so don't have to do anything special. They don't have like a release valve on the overflow tank. Just fill it up and then try to compress the hoses. And then once we get enough in here, then I can start it and then do the same thing and just wait for the system to kind of burp itself and make sure our level is at the right spot. When the car is cold, it should be up to about there. All right, we let it bleed quite a bit without starting it. I think there is like 2.5 gallons in there right now, so go ahead and start it. Turn the heat up and see where the level goes to. Build over there, that's why that'll dissipate in a second. So we're just letting it get up to temp right now. It's at about 56 degrees, so got a ways to go. All right guys, she's all buttoned back up, ready to go. Just put the lower pan on, or lower protector, whatever it is, belly pan. And yeah, I kept the extra coolant in the car so that if I need to fill it up, if it bleeds more as I'm driving, I can go ahead and do so. But as is, it took about 2.5 gallons of the Xerox. There's 2 old ones, and we'll see. Maybe there was some leftover coolant in the block, so it didn't all come out. But online I was reading that it was 12 liters, but we're not really close to that yet from what we dispensed in there. So we'll see. I'll update you guys if that ends up happening. All right guys, well, that'll wrap up the video. Everything went as planned, luckily, and it wasn't too bad of a job. Took a little bit of time, but a little bit of patience, a little bit of paying attention to what's going on, and you can get it done, no problem. Shout out to my stepdad, Mike, always coming through. He's like a master mechanic, so you guys can see every time he's helped me in a video, he just gets going and makes things a lot easier to have 2 people around, especially somebody who's as knowledgeable as he is and experienced with all of this stuff. So yeah, really happy, got it done. Should be, you know, good to go for a long while. That'll pretty much wrap it up for the video. Let me know if you guys have any questions, comment down below. I'll be happy to answer any details that I might have missed in the video, since I didn't get absolutely everything that we did. So yeah, happy to provide any information. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, all those things. You guys know what to do. And I will see you guys on the next one very soon. Peace.